Wowza. I just finished a coaching call with a very master level healer. We do trades of services where we've both been at this for several decades, and it is such an honor to go so deep so fast and be able to provide such extraordinary healing and integration for her as she does for me. And we just never know what's going to happen. She's so cute. She goes, I was just going to ask you for some advice. And a friend of hers is dying. Another death of her babysitter when she was young that never got integrated. Death of another friend. Just like the dominoes just kept falling, and it was all like tied up in her belly. The guilt of could she have done more, and should she have been more present, but she was so young then compared to how masterful she is now, and just all the way back. Oh my God. And because she's been trained enough to be able to stay in her body and feel her feelings, we can go wave after wave, decade after decade, sometimes lifetime after lifetime, and it's just extraordinary. And I don't know why, but my body tracks her body and feels things, sometimes things that's hard for her to feel until she's able to feel them. Like, a wave of nauseousness came through. Level 3 trauma, when you come back in your body, it's often nauseousness along with hopelessness. And for her, it was helplessness. I just feel like I've run a marathon. And I feel so honored because I sense we're not doing this just for her and her life. We're doing this for the collective. And as we go into this next podcast with Grant, sweet man, I was so cranky. I was so committed to understanding and getting it. And I felt like there was a blind spot being presented to me. And I think what it was, and you'll find out in the wonderful podcast, I'm so blessed to really be a master facilitator. So who I get to work with is really in a container where we can feel the feeling and sit with it and trust the body and the autonomic nervous system, and sometimes the psychedelic medicine, depending, but clearly that didn't need any medicine. We were just on Zoom. Anyways, all the way back to zero, where there is the soul is able to come into the body, and the wisdom of why our soul chose this particular experience is self-evident. Anyways, what I really learned from Grant was that, well, that's fine and dandy, Allana, but you only have so many hours in a day, and who can you work with? And so he's very much about teaching people tools that they can use out in the wild, out in the field, out in life, out in watching the news, or like, so that we don't react, because no one's going to do any good when we react. It's when we respond. And so he's very much into regulation. And I just wanted to, I was being a little, I just wanted to be certain that the information we were sharing with you wasn't using regulation as a bypass. It was using regulation to be present and feel the feeling. Because I'm such a, I'm a stand. No bypassing. That doesn't work. Shoving away our emotions doesn't work. Sprinkles on top of the ice cream cone of shit doesn't work. Pollyanna attitude, everything's love and light, doesn't work. Like, there's so many things that doesn't work. And we need the ability to stay in our body and respond, not react. And that is where Grant and I are completely in alignment to support you. So give my crankiness grace, or my, I don't know, anyways, I just think he's extraordinary. And I just wanted to understand. And I want all of us to be able to come home to our presence and be our best self and act from our open hearts to one another on this beautiful planet. All right, enjoy this podcast with Grant. Beautiful sister, take a breath with me. Oh, when was the last time you felt really grounded in your body, still in your mind, truly in love with yourself? Not fixing yourself, not striving to be different, just loving your sweet self exactly as you are. I know you've probably been strong for everybody else, yet this is your moment now, an invitation to be there for you. To say yes to not just the bare minimum, but your real needs. To listen to the truth of your body. To slow down and hear the deepest truth of your heart. To face what you've been perhaps avoiding so that you can embody your authentic feminine power. And you don't have to do this alone. Like so many others before you, we can partner in divine sisterhood. The divine feminine way is to collaborate, to open our hearts together into the glorious, great unknown, the mystery. So I invite you to go to allanapratt.com/connect and book a call with me today. We will get through any shadow to the light of your fullest glory together. Promise. Welcome to Intimate Conversations, Season 14, Dark Night to Divine Light, because we both know intimacy is an inside job. Hello and welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations, Season 14, from Dark Night to Divine Light. And this is a new friend of mine, kind of like a fast friend. And then we have these other friends in common. And I'm like, oh, I thought he was cool. He's really cool. So this is Grant Dziak. He is a human performance and nervous system strategist. And he's the founder of the Forged Method. And it's a framework designed to help high functioning individuals stop white-knuckling life and start leading it from a regulated and embodied state. And his work sits kind of at the intersection of neuroscience and behavioral change and identity reconstruction, helping people understand why discipline alone eventually breaks down and how nervous system dysregulation quietly sabotages performance, relationships, and decision-making. So he's known for his direct, no-nonsense approach and his core message: you cannot outwork a dysregulated nervous system. Sustainable strength comes from regulation first, not more pressure. So welcome, Grant, to Intimate Conversations. So good to see you again.
Thank you so much. And like, what a great intro with like the tonality and everything. I'm like, can you just kind of come with me to any events I do and be the person who intros me?
I'll do your voiceovers on your message machines or whatever.
Perfect.
Thank you. Well, I guess I get into it. I'm really excited to have you here. And I also love when we met before, we have so much in common when it comes to supporting people and their nervous systems and our own personal journeys and our passion for what we do. So because you can't really tell because you got a black sweater on, but you're like a big guy, like a strong guy, right? So didn't it all start off in like fitness? And tell us the story of how you came to this moment of contribution to the world.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, Allana, thank you so much for having me on. This is awesome. I've been looking forward to this for a while now.
Thank you.
And how cool, like the way we connected, because it was in a group messaging that I just kind of like replied to somebody's thing, but I was, there's whatever, 400, 500 people in that. And I was like, I saw what it was and I was like, I think there's something happening with this woman's nervous system. And I was like, I'll throw it out there. And then you replied to it. And I was like, what a good sign from the universe to just always be willing to like share your gift, like what you know, and share that bit of knowledge. So thank you for that. So for me, all of this actually started, I would say when I was very, very young. I was raised primarily by women, large in part. My mom and dad separated when I was 2 years old, and my father was like a very abusive alcoholic, and he'd been remarried quite a few times. I want to say somewhere 5 or 6 times, maybe altogether. And I don't mean to be so aloof about it. I don't have any relationship with him really anymore. And but I have a lot of sisters. He had multiple children in each marriage, and I was the only one who never lived with him. And I grew up, and most of them are all women. They're all sisters to me. I have one much older brother. Outside of that, I was surrounded by women who I felt like I couldn't protect in my life. And my one biological sister she was raped about 5 feet away from me when I was 5, and she was 9. And I found out about it when I was 13. I remember all the way down to the day, and I've done some really cool, you want to call it timeline healing or, just I found this woman who essentially does the same thing I do, and we like kind of coach each other back and forth. And she like took me
Nice.
back, and I was there, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I see it all now. And
Wow.
but when I was 13, I found out about it, and it was after I had ended up, ironically, spending a weekend around this guy, and I didn't know. And
Whoa.
my mom didn't know this guy was going to be there, like none of it. And when I got home after spending a week with him, being so excited, like I saw this guy again, and I shared that with my mom, and she told me, and it just was all of a sudden it was this feeling like sleeping with the enemy, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh
yeah,
my gosh, like I'm crazy, and I not only am I incapable of protecting the people who I care about the most in my life, and this I'm 13 at this point,
yeah.
incapable of protecting the people I care about, which is something that you don't need to really take on as a 13-year-old, I don't think, but I did, and nobody
Mm,
pressured that on me. That was my own viewpoint on it, and then
yeah.
um, from there, um, you know, feeling like my only connection to my dad was my size. And because I was, to be honest, I was scared shitless of this guy. And he was
Wow.
a monster. I mean, I remember him being a monster.
Wow.
And, uh, and it seemed like the only time he was happy with me, it was when he was talking about how big I was, because I was a very big kid. Like I've basically been this size since I was like 10. I hit all my growth spurts super early. And so he hyped me up all that, he was like, oh, you're going to be a freak athlete. And he was way off because he always said basketball. And if he ever saw me play basketball, that was definitely not my
That
sport.
was not going to happen. Okay.
Definitely not. But and then one time we went to an amusement park, and well, all my sisters went in, and they tried charging him for me. I think I was 7, and they were like, "There's no way this kid's under 8 years old," because children 8 and under got in for free. And he took me out to the parking lot. He got another beer, and then he beat the shit out of me, for lack of a better term, because he was
Mm,
mad at me because he had to pay for me. And
mm,
and I didn't
mm.
figure this I didn't put all this together until about 2 or 3 years ago, when I had a mentor of mine actually was like, oh, so in that moment it was this idea of be big but don't be too big. And she said it
Yeah.
to me, and it just like coursed through my body. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what it is. Because up until then I had spent so much of my life this idea of like, I'm Michael Jordan, but I played this role of Scottie Pippen. Like I'm like, oh, I'm going to support the number one. And I
Right.
was always so unfulfilled. I'm like, I've got so much more to offer and give.
Yeah.
So, but through being raised primarily by very strong women, and the men that I did have in my life, like my uncle and my grandfather, such like strong masculine men that they felt so comfortable in raising up the women around them. And so
Mm,
that's what I was exposed to. And so I had the contrast of that, the contrast of my dad, which I guess you could call like the toxic side.
right.
And my mother's side of it, like they shaped it all for me. So I ended up having this perspective that wasn't judgmental. They never said anything negative. They just always kind of helped shape it for me and let me create my own conclusions about it, which allowed
Mm,
me to be so in touch with with my feminine energy, which is my intuition. And from a young age, I've always felt like I can hear people. I can hear what people aren't saying. And
mhm, mhm.
I've now gotten to the point, like either whether I'm giving someone like a back rub or like scratching someone's back, I've always had this thing where I feel like I know where it needs to go next. And I never
Mm.
could explain it. And one of my friends that's a Reiki master, she's like, that's what Reiki is, just so you know. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, I had no idea. And so it's this, and I think we all have these things. I think we all have this innate ability to be so in tune with ourselves, but we have it so blocked off to us from all the external things we experience in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, through the series and sequence of experiences that I had, it allowed it to be very open to me. And to the point where I've always felt like I hear all the things people aren't saying. And for years, I would always be like, I feel like this is what's actually happening and this is what's actually playing out. And I'm like, I can't say that though. I can't present that to somebody. And then sure enough, come up in the future, find out that was exactly what was happening. It happened multiple times.
Whoa.
Um, and then it got to the point where I've always felt like I could feel people. I'm like, I feel like you need someone to create the platform for this. Like it's too uncomfortable for you to say, but you need to get this truth out of you. And
Mm.
so it's like I would kind of make myself the target of it, and to a similar relative situation that I thought was happening with them, and you just see them like open up because it felt like so much permission, because they felt like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not in this alone. And I remember the very first time I really did this on a high level was with a client in 2017, 2018. And it was this big Italian guy that he lived up in New York. I'm pretty sure he was in the mafia. And so I was like, man, I want to say this to him so bad, but I'm like, I also don't want to put a hit out for me.
You don't want cousin
And
Vinny coming to look for you.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know, right? I'm like, I'm gonna be swimming with the fishes. And I was like, can I share something with you, man? And I was like, I know you haven't said this, but so if I'm off, totally just let me know. And I was essentially like, you regret marrying your wife. You never wanted to actually be married to her, and you love your son. He's 5, but like you didn't want him, and you kind of regret it and have a resentment towards that every single day.
Mm.
And like I went on a plethora of other things, and he just sat there and stared at me, and it was I swear to God, it felt like the longest 3 to 5 seconds ever. And
Mm.
this dude just broke down crying. And he's
Mm.
like, "How do you know this?" He's like, "That."
Wow.
He's like, "I've never said any of this to anybody." He'd been trapped with it for
Of
years
course, but you
because he
can
didn't feel
sense
like he
it.
could go anywhere. And within, I don't know, within a month, they like his entire relationship shifted and completely turned around altogether.
Mm.
He messaged me a year after that. Him and his wife were pregnant with their second child, and not the first name, but we gave him a middle name of Grant. And I was like, "Oh my God, like that's incredible!" Like, and it
Oh,
was just one of those things where when he said that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is real." And it's kind of like what we were talking about before we started recording is owning what you are, owning who
yeah,
and what you have, like your gift and what you have inside of you. Because we grew up in this society that tells us like, don't be selfish, don't do this, don't boast, don't be proud of yourself, don't brag, because your strengths expose other people's weaknesses so
yeah,
often. So
yes,
literally standing in your own truth, being good at what you're good at offends
yeah,
other people because it
for
makes you
sure,
feel so
for sure.
inadequate.
Welcome to life. Yeah.
So it's the ability to like I finally stood in that so loud and so proudly, and I just owned that aspect of myself. And I was like, I don't really have formulation for exactly what it is I do, but I know how it works, and I know what I'm doing with people. And so I turned all my coaching into that because I started out fitness coaching, telling people
Mhm.
sets and reps, didn't understand the somatics of everything, physiology,
Yeah.
the mind heart connection, all these different things. Subconscious lives in your body, your emotion center. So I just knew that to have like a CEO down in the 6 minute plank, and all of a sudden tears would be coming out, and it dropped to the ground, and it wasn't cut from exhaustion. It was the exhaustion of holding the weight of whatever it was he was carrying. He has a horrible relationship with his kids, or husband or wife cheating on each other, like whatever it is. And all these things were coming out, and I was like, oh my God, this is what I want. I don't care about telling people sets and reps or how to get abs. But then I noticed that I had this whole group of people that were happy, and they weren't really
Mm.
following the protocols of nutrition and stuff, and they were getting amazing results. I had these other people who were following everything very strictly, but they were so
Yeah.
stressed in life and they were so
Yeah.
anxious about everything
Yeah.
all the time, getting zero results and actually
Yeah.
gaining weight and looking
Mm.
worse. And I
Mm.
was like, man, there's something to this. And I started putting it all together, and I started creating all these connections with it. So it was weird. It's like I learned all the information before I had terminology for it, before I had the formulation for it. So it's been really cool over the last 8 years to really like plug and all these pieces into each other. And then, plus, I've been coaching for about 13 years now.
Amazing. Amazing. I love this. I love, as you said, you have a very strong intuition, and it feels like that has led each of these moments, each of these components, and just the conglomeration of it all to the high level of coaching that you can provide people. It's funny, the call right before you, it was a client, and we were working with, the wound that's still inside of her body that we integrated of, they say one thing, but they do another. Okay, that's part one. But part two is, and they actually believe their own lies.
Mm.
So you can't talk to them. They are committed to living in a fantasy. And so being surrounded by people that are insane or not willing to be sane, not willing to take
Right.
ownership and feel or like anything. And that it was everywhere she looked. And it was just coming at her 24/7 everywhere. And we've been working together. She's my sexual somatic integration coach, and I'm her intimacy integration coach. And so we just have this beautiful synergy where we just help one another. She actually led a cannabis session for me 2 nights ago, and it's amazing when you're held by someone who doesn't judge, who can go as deeper, so nothing that comes up they're going to get triggered by, and that they do their work too. Right, when you can be in partnership with that level of human, what comes through is pretty friggin' insane.
Yeah.
I love it. Tell me more about this ability to know and what you make of it. When I first started doing psychedelic somatic integration work, I'm going to call them multidimensional. Like, yes, I'm hearing them say something, but I'm hearing behind. I'm also seeing. I'm also hearing other. Who knows who's talking to me? Like all these things are happening. I'm like, whoa. And to me, it's such an honor because I give myself over to be a vessel of the divine for my client. And it only happened one time before, but it just happened a couple weeks ago, where when they move their body in different places, I often ask, well, what's held in those hands? You know, like, oh, I'm so angry, for example, right? Let's feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this time this lady pulled up her blankie, and I saw an image. It was just like a TV screen just came on inside my mind, and I saw her trying to take her life, taking sleeping pills. And it was in that moment, kind of like your mafia guy. I'm like, do I say anything? Should I say anything? And then so I just did what you did. Like, I could be off and throw this away if it doesn't align. But this is what the scene that I'm seeing. Fuck you. How do you have this ability to see things? Nobody knows this. And then, of course, the tears that followed. And it happened again a couple of weeks ago with a client, only the second time ever. But what do you make of our intuitive capacities, psychic abilities, multidimensional awarenesses? I don't know what words you use, but what do you make of this? I think it's our devotion to our path and then doing the friggin' work in service to others. Like, something about that. What do you think?
Do you feel like you understand yourself very well?
Yeah.
Like you understand yourself on a deep level?
Yeah.
I think that's all it is. I think it's that when you understand yourself to such a capacity, we're all the same, and it's like, and it's how crazy in a world where everyone's so focused on everything that makes us so different, and like every different possible way of breaking it down is like, we're all the same at the end of the day. And not in the way that everyone gets a trophy, but we're all born, we all have the same basic human needs. And to me, the pain that we experience in life that binds us all together, it's the pain, it's the hardship that binds us together, not in the way of like misery loves company, but in the way of like, everyone's trying to connect over, like, look at my Lamborghini and look at my mansion I live in. And it's like, you're trying to brag because you're trying to be what you're trying to project and create the avatar of what you think the world wants to see of you, or would think a certain thing of you. But at
Yeah.
your
To get
core,
love. Yeah.
yeah, at your core, that doesn't do anything for anybody. Like,
Yeah.
some people are like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Okay, cool. But like, that doesn't pay my bills. That doesn't make me understand life better. It's our pain that binds us together, because to me, the pain that we all share is the gap. And it's the only pain. It's the gap between our human needs and the way we've gone about trying to achieve those throughout life. And that's what the pain is that we experience. And the goal is to close that gap and to go about it a different way and realize you have choice in your life, and you can have a choice when you can regulate, and you can regulate when you're willing to face the truth. And I think that's what it is. So kind of, how you're saying that you hear people, but you hear everything else. So I've always compared this to, and this is what it actually sounds like to me sometimes, is like in a movie, like in a war movie, where they try to replicate the idea of like a grenade going off. So all of a sudden, everything kind of, it's like, it's like a siren kind of going off in your ear, like a ringing going off in your ear, and the talking is really muffled, and you can't really hear it. So when people are talking to me, they're telling their story. We do it. Every single person, we have our story. It's our kind of our repeated repertoire that we will consistently share with the world, that we've kind of become accustomed to, and it always just changes just a little bit over the course of a time. It's drastically different, but it just changes a little bit. And so what I feel like is that sound, that story that people are telling me, is, it sounds like that ringing is happening. It gets very muffled to me. And I feel like in a very deep, rich, clear voice, they're literally just telling me everything that they're not saying.
Mm.
And between that, and then everyone has a glitch in their story, multiple glitches. It could be actually mathematical, where you can go, wait, you said this date and this date, and those don't match up. So what's the deal here? And then oh, well, and then they'll try to recorrect it. And the goal isn't to have a gotcha moment. The goal is to say, hey, like, we're going to find these things together, because the only reason we can't see our own pain points is because we coped with something so painful at one point in our life, and it created a shadow for us. And like, to me, that's what it is. You have people that say they're light workers, and I've heard this term a couple times, and every time I've heard, I'm like, that feels exactly like what I actually do. And it's a shadow walker, like walking people through their shadow of the things that they don't want to face, because we all want to, like, the idea of like, we all want to have the light is to me the same idea of like, well, I want to go hire the business coach, but you don't even have an idea of a basis, a foundation of what it is you want to do. You just want a business. A business coach is going to amplify whatever your business is. They're not going to create the business for you. I want a fitness coach, but you don't even listen to your own intuition of what your body needs and wants and craves. You're so out of tune with it. So we're always looking for people to tell us what to do. And I believe that pain that we experience along the way different traumas, pain points, whatever it is, interactions. It's kind of like holding up a sheer piece of cloth in front of a light. Like you hold up one, you can still see light through it, but not as good. You hold up a second one, not as good, and the third one, less. And every time you put up one, there's less and less and less. We have hundreds of them. So we all think we have to add more to our life. I have more money, more cars, more this, more friends, whatever it is. And the reality is, man, you need to strip everything away to get back to the core of who you are, because you understand everything yourself. You know what everything is within you. You know how to do things. You know what you should and shouldn't eat. You know what your messaging is within your business. You know what gift it is you have to share with the world. But we are so out of touch. It's such a diluted picture when we try to see it through all of those different layers, because we haven't handled the pain in our life because we coped with it. And then it kind of just went on repeat. And that's where the nervous system comes into this, is nervous system with behavioral change. Like behavioral change without knowing how to regulate your nervous system is just going to give you kind of the same result all the time. Like people want to process emotion very often. And they, I have a lot of people that end up coming to me and they're like, well, I've tried working with this other coach and they spent 6-7 months telling me I just need to feel my feelings. And it's like, to try to just feel your feelings without first regulating your nervous system, those emotions are only going to be interpreted as alarms going off. When you learn how to regulate, that's like seeing a cheetah or out in the wild, and you're trying to look at it and you're trying to analyze it. Maybe you're trying to take a photo, you're like a National Geographic photographer. And how are you going to be creative in that moment? Because you're also going, oh my God, how am I going to not die right now? And to me, the ability to regulate is now seeing that exact same animal, but in a zoo with a glass wall between you. There's no threat. You can relax. I'm not worried about getting attacked, so I can enjoy it. I can appreciate it, and I can sit in it, and I can see it for what it is. So when you learn how to regulate your nervous system, you get to process your emotion. You get to get rid of that emotion and alchemize it. You can't create or destroy energy, and emotions are just energy in motion. So if it's already preoccupied as like anger, resentment, some low vibration emotion that you're feeling, it doesn't have, like, you don't have capacity to feel more joy, more love. It's already occupied. It's like having a car and you're trying to find your parking spot in a full parking lot. You have to empty it out first and alchemize it, change it. It transmutes. So it's the ability to change that anger into gratitude, that hate into love, whatever it is. And it's the ability to operate on those levels. And I think as a society, we've been so conditioned to believe that emotions are weakness. So when people hear control your emotions, or they're going to control you, we think that means to suppress your emotions. And your emotion lives in your body. It lives in your fascia, in your tissue, in your muscle, and it doesn't go anywhere. And it's going to pop out at the most inopportune time. And that looks like being in a bar and someone steps on your toe and you think it's the right idea to knock them out. Now you're in prison for assault and battery. Like these stupid emotional reactions that we have to things. And so when you start learning how to regulate your nervous system, it allows you to respond to the world as opposed to reacting to it. And to me, that's how when you actually get to start living.
So I heard everything you said, and some of it I'm like, yes, and some of it I'm like, no. So I'm like, really, I'm not sure if we're completely on the same page or completely on different pages. So this is going to be interesting.
I like this already.
I don't believe pain is wrong or bad, that it needs to be controlled or pushed away. So I think we're on the same page there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I think pain is the most beautiful portal.
Okay, good. All right. So we're on the same page there. Awesome. So and I agree that you can't get rid of an emotion because it's energy and you're going to transmute it or alchemize it. There's no way to get rid of it. And I think a lot of people, that's why they want to, if they're even brave enough to start doing the work, it's to get rid of something. And that is impossible. Are we on the same page there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. I'm confused about the regulate the nervous system thing because I trust the body to do that on its own with a skilled facilitator when there is zero judgment of what's coming up, zero mind trying to strategize of what it is, zero strategy to get through to it. What I watch with my psychedelic somatic integration clients is they're gone, they're dissociated, level 4 trauma. They come back into their body and they start to feel nauseousness, suicidal. What's the point? Hopelessness. Everything. They want to leave again. And I'm like, let's just allow that. Take me with you. I'll be there with you as long as it takes. I'm not doing anything. They're not trying to regulate their nervous system. They're just in allowance of the autonomic nervous system, which knows damn well what it's doing, trying to get home. And so then level 2 trauma is like when the cheetah's coming to get you. So terror, rage, self-hatred, panic, really intense, something horrific devastation. 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Again, we're not trying to get rid of it. We're not trying to make it go away. We're not trying to regulate in the face of that. We're just in 100 million percent allowance. And if we are in 100% a million allowance and they're safe because I'm right there and I'm feeling it with them, maybe I'm screaming with them if they're screaming, or I'm close to them if they're crying, whatever they need. And when they allow that, I didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. It just happened right before my very eyes. The beauty of our body. Maybe that's regulation that you're talking about, but that's how it works with me. And then we get to level 1 trauma. Quite often feels like, oh my God, I lived. I didn't think I was going to live through that, because the body back when they were 5 or a past life or wherever this came from was honestly concerned about life or death. So their body is like, oh my God, I lived. And then some relief. And then 0 point, when it gets all the way back to 0, to me, what seems to happen is the energy in the body has been integrated. So now there's space. And what I've discovered is that I think it's their soul. And because there's like our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body, and then the soul, right? So I think all the mental emotions got integrated, the emotional, so anything, something got integrated because shoo, they start talking like they're fucking Buddha. They speak wisdom in a way that, and their voice is often an octave deeper, and their breath is fine, and their body's fine, and everything their physical body did through that whole thing, it was a shit show. It was a fucking shit show. And then I call that, now they're regulated. Now that particular trauma has been integrated or regulated, so that when the similar trigger shows up in life that particular wave was about, they can respond, not react, have complete discernment, hear their soul's truth as well as their guts, intuitive knowing, that way pre-verbal. But until that thing happens, they're either trying to push it away or control it or override it, or I call it sprinkles on top of the ice cream cone of shit. So where does your definition of regulate come into that scenario that I just went through? Or did that make sense? That scenario?
Yeah. So if I'm understanding what you said correctly, you're saying like when I'm there with them, I'm not having them regulate. I'm having them just feel it. And experience. Yeah. So
and their body regulates right before my very eyes.
So to me, you're in place of the regulation.
I'm the regulated one.
Yes, you're a trusted source. You're the thing that makes them feel safe, because
totally they entrain to that.
Yeah, without them just simply feeling safe within themselves. You're there with them, like
totally,
and you're grounded. So and since our nervous systems interact, as long as you're staying grounded, you're helping co-regulate them at the same time without them even doing that. What I'm referring to is like for general everyday life, to make those changes, those shifts when I'm not there, when
got it.
They're not going to have an external source, when they're completely by themselves at 2 a.m. and those intrusive thoughts come in. And the ability to learn how to start choosing yourself, because that just the same concept that like your nervous system always choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And it's so like in those moments that it wants what's familiar, it wants what it's always gone to, because it feels familiar, it's known. Even though this might not be it doesn't, to me, it's your brain, your nervous system, they're not ranking these things necessarily. They're not going, this is okay. It's just going, hey, all we know is like we survived that. It's not going, yeah, but look at what happened on the backside. It's just going, we survived it. We made it through it. We lived. So this is a good choice. It's going to keep us alive.
I get that. Yeah.
So to me, the way I look at the mind, the body, the nervous system, I look at the nervous system part of the body, and the talking about, like, I always use the example of suicide. I truly believe that all of us at some point, on some level, no matter how extensive it's gone, or just like a quick thought or attempted, we've all considered suicide on some level at a moment of pain in our lives. And if we're all honest, we can be like, yeah, like it's at least crossed my mind to say, because if you're experiencing immense pain, of course you're going to go, maybe this would just be easier. And then But so if your
Yeah.
body's firing the emotion of that, and your
Yeah.
brain's releasing the chemical of that, but you're still here, you had a voice, something outside of that. And to me, that's your consciousness. And your consciousness is just using this brain and this body as like a meat suit to experience this human existence, to go through this life. But just like our cell phones come with factory default settings, and until we know about it, until like you've come across like the little tutorial on Instagram that says, hey, this is how you go into this setting and back here, and you can toggle off data collection and advertisements and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Well, all of a
Mm.
sudden I can toggle these things off, and now it's more mine. And it's like your brain and your body just came with a lot of factory default settings. And if you coped with something one time, you made it through something one time, a lot of times your brain like it locks that in and it goes, well, we just know we made it through there. So anything that comes close to triggering to that, it'll come up again. But over the
For
course
sure.
of years, if it's 10, 20, 30 years, man, you've made thousands of associations. There's hundreds, millions of things that will trigger that, because how fast your neurons fire to bring you right back to that place of safety for yourself. So it's in those moments, it's to start recognizing what those are, and then to regulate so that you don't become consumed by your emotion, not to not feel your emotion or to dissociate from it, but so that you can feel it, so that you can truly experience it. Because all feelings want is to be felt. Like your emotions just want to be felt. They want to be acknowledged. So to me, the goal of being able to regulate yourself is to calm your system down, to say like, this is safe. This is okay to be here, be with this emotion, to like nothing bad is going to happen to me by experiencing this or feeling this in this moment.
Okay. So maybe I'm just confused that regulation doesn't mean integration. Regulation means enough. What does it mean? Before I
Well,
start, because how do you feel a feeling and regulate at the same time? I don't think you can do that. I think you feel, which regulates. Like to me, that's the outcome. But I think that you're using it differently. So how do I? I
yeah.
understand that I'm the co-regulator. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Mhm. So
Makes
what I'm
sense to
saying
me.
is we let's say we're in an argument with our significant other,
Yeah.
and we hear the tonality of their voice, and every time we hear that tonality of their voice, boom, we start spiking, we start feeling ourselves get active.
Yeah.
So, and you have about, was it like 5 to 10 seconds from the time you feel that trigger to the moment you're actually activated. And for women, once your sympathetic nervous system is firing, man, that can be up to 24 hours that you're staying in that. And for men, up to 9 hours. And it's like, how often do we ever just do one thing? Like, when's the last
Mm.
time you like just stubbed your toe and didn't do anything else the rest of the day? It's like, we'll stub our toe and like, damn it. And then we'll spill coffee and we're like, shit. And then it's the next thing. And then now we're a little bit more agitated. Someone cuts us
Mm.
off in traffic. We're angry. The world's out to get me. They're trying to keep me from
Mm.
getting what I want. The kids
Yeah.
say something, do something, another trigger. And every time we re-trigger, we reset the clock to the point where most of us are just constantly living in this elevated state, not
Yeah.
realizing that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, and people are like, no, that's normal to me. And it's like, right, it's because your baseline has risen so high. So to
Yeah.
me, the idea of regulating is coming back to your baseline and lowering that baseline, being able to change that over time to create a pattern interrupt in that sequence of experiences that are happening. So
Yeah.
significant other says this, I get tense, I react this way because he or she is already trying to fight me.
Yeah.
It's the ability, I'm going to breathe. I'm going to physiologically take control of my body. I'm going to get into my breath, and I'm not going to go in. I'm going to keep myself from going into fight or flight. So I don't put those goggles on that make me perceive the situation as something other
Yeah.
than what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to respond differently, which is going to create a
Totally.
pattern interrupt, which is going to
Yeah.
cause a ripple through everything that's going to go on. And to me, that's how you start experiencing life differently.
Yeah. So I'm in agreement. I still have this question. Is that super high level coping until you can actually do the work to integrate that trauma?
No, I think regulating is what gives you the ability to integrate it, to look at it and sit with it and be with it without the presence of somebody else around you. As like when you're on your own by yourself, instead of
Right.
going down all the different rabbit holes, it's the ability to regulate so you can feel it. It's the ability to feel it without it controlling you, without it taking you to like all the dark places. Like you can experience like dark feelings and emotions, but it's the ability to observe it instead of absorb it. Because then to me, in my opinion, what I've experienced with people is if we're just in it the same way as we always are, we're going to get the exact same result as we've always gotten. Is the ability to almost be observing it and seeing, and you can almost step outside of it. So these feelings, these chemicals, it doesn't have a bind on you. It's not holding you down, and you're responding the same way that you always do. It's the ability to create change in your life, because any kind of change is going to be unfamiliar, which means any kind of change is going to spark and trigger whatever we do in our mind to tell ourselves we're unworthy, we're not deserving. Because whether it's abundance in business, make more money, man, that's going to be that's different. And I'm stepping on somebody's toes, but we don't lock it down to one thing. We just know it's a threat, and that's the way we perceive it. So it's the ability to start changing your correlation with different events, scenarios, finances, business, body, relationships, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with this. I just think there's work after this. Like, I think this is to get yourself out of hell for sure. So you're not totally reacting all the time. And you have a sense of sovereignty and agency. And when the emotions occur, you're able to bring your nervous system calm. But to me, the trauma didn't go anywhere. It's still there. And to me, trauma occurs in relationships, and trauma is healed in relationships. And I also believe trauma that occurs in, and I didn't even know this one blindsided me a couple months ago, trauma that occurs in family or community also is healed in family and community. There's only so much we can do alone with ourselves, which we need to take total ownership for and do our friggin' best. But it's sort of like you can go to a dating coach and talk about dating and do all the things about dating, but you gotta date. Like, you gotta get out there, right? There's a whole, in my opinion, a whole other layer, dimension of trauma that comes up when you're actually in relationship. And I think it's a hell of a lot more clever to have a facilitator to work that deep core trauma out. The regulation's necessary and important, but to me, it's not the whole enchilada. There's still that thing in there that you need to keep regulating. Like, so that's why I just like to fucking go to the core. Let's just do this. Let's integrate this. And then it's not there anymore.
Right. Well, I'm
Are we saying the same thing or different things?
We're saying the same thing. I'm saying it, but without a facilitator being there.
Right.
So it's like,
right.
You don't have anyone present with you in your day-to-day life. Like,
yeah, no, you're right. It's both important. Yeah.
Like just like all the political stuff happening right now, whatever of it is actually true, like, who knows? But it's like, we're all responding to what we perceive as threat, as opposed to just taking a couple breaths. And it doesn't, I think one of the disconnects, to me, the regulation isn't the work. That's not the work. To me, that's what clears the way to do the work. It's like the fullback in football. Like, you still have to then run the ball. This is just opening the pathway for it.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm starting to get it. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I'm a little.
No, you're so good. No, because left to its own demise, your brain is not trying to make you happy. Your brain is not going after your dreams and goals and ambitions.
Yeah.
Your brain, like, the main three functions is survival, pain avoidance, and energy efficiency.
Totally.
Which is going to be your patterns and your habits. So if it's craving, so let's say all the way, it doesn't have to even be something traumatic. Let's say it's food, and we're trying to change our diet.
Yeah.
And every time we go to try to diet a different way, eat a different way, live a different way, well, you have to regulate yourself, because that change is going to feel like such a threat. That's going to give you the information back if you don't regulate before that. And while you're trying to do it, and it might be every meal that you have to do it till your brain goes, wait, we're eating this way all the time now. Let's pass off that other thing. And this is actually just what we do now. And to me, that's how all of a sudden a food that you used to hate, now it's just like, I crave it. I love it. It becomes so used to it. It's your new programming. But it's the ability in the moment to not let those emotions take over you, because, and I always use this as an example, because I did fitness coaching very specifically for a long time. Yeah. I didn't do it the way most people do it. I did it based around, like, I'm like, what are you perceiving is happening to you right now? Like, why? Like, it's not, you don't suck. Like, you're not undisciplined. What's happening to you right now that's making, like, what is the story that is being told you as to why you can't stick to this diet that 3 days ago you logically were like, that makes so much sense. I've eaten McDonald's every day for 30 years, and you're telling me I'm going to have to be consistent with this new diet for about 8 weeks before I'm going to see results. 8 weeks in spite of 30 years. Amazing. But somehow 3 days into that, something else takes over and goes, we
Yeah.
can't do this. This isn't how we operate. That's your subconscious. Consciously, logically, these things make sense. And then our long-term memory takes over and goes, no, that's not how we do. You experience
Yeah.
that feeling and it shoots back up to your brain. And then you start creating the story as to why or how to get out of it. And I use an ice bath as a simulation for this, for a lot of things for people, because to you, you believe that water is going to have to hurt. That's because it's what you've locked into your mind, and you get in it and then you feel it. It goes, this isn't good. And if you don't regulate in that moment as to what you're feeling, it doesn't mean you don't feel uncomfortable in there. It means that that discomfort doesn't control you. It doesn't make you have to get out. To me, it kind of breaks the connection between your body and your mind of sending the message up there, and then your brain creating all the things that say we have to survive. And that's where you toggle it off, because sometimes your brain gets it wrong. And it
Well,
just,
I think our brain gets it wrong a lot.
it does. It
Yeah.
100% does. But it's the
So,
ability to take that and say, I don't like, thank you, but I don't need you right now. Like, thank you for this armor you're putting up around me and this sword you're putting in my hand to protect myself and fight the world. But like, I don't need this right now.
yeah. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I just feel there's an easier way. To me, that feels like a lot of work. Like I gotta talk to my brain. I got to do all like, and I know that works. I've done ice baths, like whatever. I have my song from the Blue Man Group that I put on. I feel love, and I can ice bath for a long time. So that's my whatever. Maybe that's my regulation. But when, for example, earlier today, I had a client who has gained a lot of weight, and it was our fourth session, and we've done no plant medicine. It's just been like on Zoom, and we got to the moment. We got to the moment where he started eating and drinking, and in that moment, I did not regulate him. I said, I'm right here. Let's feel that. What haven't you felt about that yet? Where is it in your body? Let's follow it with your body where it goes. And, 20-ish or so minutes later, not calm that you get when you dissociate and you've just got fake face, like calm in his body. And I call it sitting in the fire, helping him come all the way back so that that moment that he wants to eat, it's not a fight with his mind. It's not, I've got to breathe better. It's not, it's like, no, like, let's just go find this little guy where all this shit went down in a session with another to set him free. And I realize not everybody has a coach. Not everybody has a partner to regulate with. So they need skills to not react and be able to respond when we're seeing everything we see on the TV. And it's, to me, it's still not all the way home. It's a fucking great regulation, but it still feels like coping on some level. Because haven't you ever had the experience when you've really fucking integrated a trauma all the way? Your body is an open vessel for the divine to come through and speak in as you. Have you ever like had those moments where you speak as the divine? You're like, who the fuck is talking right now?
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is, I think that's our birthright, and that just having
When does that come to you?
or a better response to the brain, like it's just exhausting to me, Grant.
Okay, well, because you're making it out, to me, it's not what it is at all. Because it's
Okay,
not
help me understand. Help me understand.
what I'm
What
doing is
piece am I missing?
I'm taking the attention away from the brain. I'm just saying, don't focus on this. I can regulate in seconds now, and it's the ability to then integrate and to apply what I want to apply, what I consciously know but hasn't been embodied yet, so that I can regulate against it, so I can consistently keep applying this, whatever, 66 to 365 days to create a new program in your body and your mind on a cellular level, so that, because then it becomes your new programming. You don't have to regulate. You don't have to do anything. But it's the ability that on your own is like, and it's anything. It's anything you're doing. It's the choice that and when I say regulate, I'm talking about getting into your breath, just getting in your breath. I'm not saying like sit down and do a whole breath work session. I'm saying take 3 breaths, open your belly up, let your organs move, give your organs room to move by opening your belly up, let those lungs drop, turn them into vacuum so they suck in more oxygen. You stimulate that vagal nerve. You're communicating to your body, I'm safe. Why? Because if I was walking down a dark alley, and I always use this as an example because it's universal. If any of us were walking down a dark alley at night and someone was walking towards us, we're not going to put our arms up in the air. Why? We're not going to expose our ribs and our organs, our vital organs. We're going to kind of close off in front. We're going to
Yeah.
close off and we're going to kind of probably shrug our shoulders up a little bit. Our breathing is going to get a little bit more rapid because we're not going to feel safe. And we're going to be hyper vigilant. We're going to be looking around. Where am I going to run to? Or do I have a weapon I can pick up to have to fight? Like, what are they doing? And we're going to be hyper vigilant on them.
Yeah.
So, but people do this when they go to post on Instagram. People do this when they do this when they're getting ready to go out for a night. Oh my God, my muffin top's hanging. Oh God, I feel fat. I don't look, these jeans, this outfit, whatever it is. This girl didn't text me back. Oh my God, what's happening? Like, we spiral.
Yeah.
So it's the ability in that moment that goes, if I'm going to break the loop, I'm going to break the loop.
Yeah.
And when I say regulate, I mean, I'm going to take a couple breaths. I'm going to relax, physiologically control my body to communicate something different. So what I teach people is on a physiological level. So let's relax the jaw because we're not clenching right now. We don't have to.
Yeah.
Relax the shoulders instead of bracing ourselves.
Yeah.
Relax that belly. Let that chest be open. Take up space. Be big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now you're telling yourself, I'm good, so that I can integrate the new protocol, the new ideas that I want to, when I don't have anybody with me. So it's
Right.
because you're constantly choosing on an everyday process. So when I work with, I usually work with clients in 6 and 12-month capacities. They have unlimited, untethered access to me because I know, like, in those moments, they're going to, it's like you're breaking a pattern, a loop that maybe these people have done for 30 years, 40 years.
Or more. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's it's so justified. Your reasoning
Yeah.
for it is so justified because
Yeah.
it's based on the story you're telling. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of that story. To you, that story is so real, but you've played that story so many times that you're like, it's not happening though. And I'm sick of living like this. And
Mm.
it's the ability to put yourself into a state where you can change that then, and you can move on by integrating these practices, the modalities, whatever, the new thought process. So to me, regulation is the pattern interrupt that you
Yeah.
now get to put a new message in, and putting the new message in is what I think you're saying is the more work that has to be done. It's the integration. It's putting in the new thing. It's channeling it differently. It's programming it and rewiring your thought process around everything.
Wow. I still don't, I adore you. And I'm still like, no, that's not
No,
what I do. I'm not me. Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
No, that's what I do.
So awareness. Okay. So I'm getting triggered. Okay.
Mhm,
So we agree on that awareness. Next,
mhm,
you regulate so that they're not in fight or flight or freeze. They're present.
mhm.
Yeah. And then you choose a new pattern or a new belief. And then over
Well,
time, that's your new modus operandus around
I mean,
like that. Did I get that?
that's like one way of it breaking down. All I'm saying is there's a stimulus, there's something that triggers us.
Yep. Yep.
Your body, we tense up, we
Yep.
start perceiving it the same way. We put on the same, I always think of them like beer goggles. We put on the beer goggles that changes
Yep.
the perception of everything we're experiencing in our world. So to me, the only thing you're doing by regulating yourself is I'm just taking these goggles off so I can
Yeah. Yeah.
clearly see what's happening. So
The
I'm making
situation.
educated
Yes.
decisions as
So I can
opposed to
respond, not react. Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
now I'm making choices based on that. Now I can continue on. Now I can see past it. That's how you can, to me, that's how you continue going, as opposed to when we put those goggles on, we end up in this, it's like the same dream that we get stuck in over, more like a nightmare over and over and
Yeah. The
over.
nightmare of Groundhog Day. Yeah.
So to
So,
me, it's just taking those goggles off.
that I get. So so once we're regulated and this new pattern, see for me, and I'm like too smart for my own good. Like cum laude graduate, Ivy League school, didn't do shit. Because it was just putting a better belief in a belief. And it still was work for me. Something else happens, at least for me, when and I call it integration as an emotion on the autonomic nervous system back to zero. When I get to zero, I don't have to think of a better pattern. I don't have to think of a better choice. I don't have to think of a better behavior. Something goes all the way down. I'm going to say my gut, hips area, and it's truth. And I just know. And it's different. It's markedly different than a better attitude or a better strategy or a better idea. Like it doesn't seem to come from the front of my mind, like the strategic, got to figure it out mind. If anything, it's the center of my head, which isn't even me, because that's my pineal connected to not all non-local intelligence. It's almost like my soul or other things are talking to me. And then down in my body, it feels like my soul, my unique expression. And it's more like a knowing. It's just more like, and and I don't have to work at like choosing a better behavior. I just eat better. I just am kind. I just don't get pissed off by these kind of people. It's not work. Am I making sense?
Yeah. I'm not saying it's work either. I'm not saying
Oh,
I'm not talking about making choices with your mind. I'm talking about making
okay. Then help
choices
me
with your,
understand, because I thought we were
yeah,
reprogramming, which sounds like we're doing something with the mind, but I
right.
don't think it's.
You're reprogramming your subconscious mind. Because you're staying in your body.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah,
experiencing
yeah,
just the simple regulation is the pattern interrupt that allows you to experience life differently. As soon as that happens, it's like, oh, so like the regulation is just a part of it. It's just like it's to me that's not the work. That's just kind of like here's like the first thing to learn so that you can any of these things we talk about.
yeah,
So it's literally it's week one of what I teach people, because that way when we start talking about other things, or you maybe have done years of therapy and you're used to looking into the past and uncovering these things about your past,
yeah,
that's you. So when I'm saying we're moving forward towards what you want, to even
yeah,
think
yeah.
about what you want is so uncomfortable. Regulate against it, because you're regulating to get out of your mind, to actually stay in your body, to stay in your essence, to stay in your flow of
Mm.
like what you feel, what you want. So to me, the idea of regulating is to stay in your body, not to go into the mind. So you're
Oh,
not,
okay, good. That was helpful. Okay, good. Because
yeah.
I was like, can we just stay out of there? Because this got us in trouble in the first place.
Oh no, that to me is the whole idea, because you experience the feeling first. And what I'm saying you're trying to do is by regulating I'm stopping that from getting up to the mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
going to
that,
stop that. Yeah.
yeah, because even heart math, what do they say? There's so many more connections from the heart
70% more messages from the heart to the brain than the brain
than
to
the
the
brain to
heart.
the heart. Exactly. So I want to definitely stay in the heart and definitely stay in the body. And that's where I guess reprogram is a good word. I like it, like maybe rewiring, but I think now I'm seeing all the synapses of where we're saying the same thing. And to me,
Mm-hmm.
that comes from a knowing of truth. And then that inspires a different action. And then that literally creates a different life in all these different
Mm-hmm.
areas that mean the world to you. Okay, so maybe we are saying the same thing. Thank you for
I think
sparring
we
with
are.
me, because I really
Yeah.
want, this is just too fucking important to not help people, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
don't want there to be bypassing. I don't want there to be coping. I don't want them to think there's some quick fix. And I really do appreciate your distinction, that we need to be able, and I guess I just do, maybe this is like a unconscious competence for me or something that you're bringing into consciousness for me, which I'm very grateful for. How do I regulate? I call it process, but how do I process myself when I'm alone? I process people all day, my clients. I got to be sure they can process themselves as well. Or I think you're using the word regulate themselves alone, because we can't have people all the time. And I think it's important that you find communities, healthy relationships, facilitators, coaches. I mean, I can't even imagine my life without coaches. I'm already a hot mess a lot. I mean, without them, like holding the banks of the river, Lord help me. But I think it's important to be vulnerable with people who you trust, and in the real moment, let that emotion come up and have a completely new experience of I am seen, I am safe, I am heard, I am understood. They didn't leave. Like all of those can be a felt healing. Maybe that's not the right word.
No,
Integration.
I think healing is the right word for it, because, and I do think that needs to happen. And I, I believe it starts with us first, because if we don't feel that within ourselves, it's the same way as when we get a compliment and we go, oh, no, no, and we pass it off,
Yeah.
because that's not your identity. So to be able to feel
Mm.
seen in the world before we've felt seen by ourselves and acknowledged every aspect of ourselves, I don't think we'll be able to truly receive it, because we're going to create it. It's a band-aid till the next, we're going to need it again
Oh,
and
for
again and
sure.
again.
Yeah. I'm an
So
intimacy expert,
yeah,
not a relationship expert, for that very
yeah.
reason. It's all about our relationship with ourself. And because
Hmm.
I've been doing this for 22 years of self, intimate with self, I'm now getting humbled by, once you first come home to yourself, integrate these wounds within yourself, it's a whole other ball game when you step out. I used to think I was embodied before in relationship. No, I was performing. I wasn't in my body at
Hmm.
all. I was,
Yeah.
I would, you could put me on a lie detector test and I would say I was in my body. I wasn't. I
Yeah.
wasn't. And now that I'm dating again and showing up in the world again, I'm like, holy fuck, this is what it's like when you're in your body. This is intense. this is intense. And thank God I did all these decades of staying inside. Because you're right. If you just go on the outside to try to sprinkles on the ice cream cone or shit, it's not going to work. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's so much that we at a young age we start outsourcing all of those emotions,
of course.
uh, like love, permission, acceptance, validation, trust, and we all have this thing where it's like, oh, I don't trust anyone. I said, you don't trust yourself.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
this last person did this to me. Well, no, it's not that they're not the problem. The problem is that you stayed. The problem is that
Yep.
you didn't, your soul or your body, and it doesn't trust that you're going to make the right choices for yourself
Yeah. Yeah.
because you kept yourself there. So what I always get people to do is like, as much as we want to focus on blame, is like take responsibility for
Yeah.
yourself
Where did you?
because when you give all that back to yourself. And as you start making those choices, like choosing yourself, as you start choosing yourself in situations, I believe that's what gains your trust. And as you gain your trust, you start being able to validate yourself. As you can validate yourself, you feel your worth. You own your worth. You feel your value. And you show
Mm,
up in the world in a totally different way. It's like a whole domino effect that opens
yeah.
all of these things up to us. And as soon as we feel, and the craziest thing is the moment we validate ourselves and are able to validate ourselves, is the first time we'll actually be able to receive validation from other people. It feels cool, but you don't need it anymore. In fact, I've
Yeah.
come to
Same with
find a
it.
lot of
Mm,
people when they crack into these emotions of themselves, it's like we spend so much of our life trying to fill internal voids with external things and people and places,
yes.
accomplishments. And it's like the coolest thing is to, I'll talk to clients and they're like, I almost got mad at this person for like validating or affirming me. And they're like, I was actually realized I was just mad because I was mad at the younger version of myself because I didn't need that anymore. And they're
Mm,
like, in that moment, man, that was the best feeling ever that I could receive it and I could hear it. And I'm like, thank you so much. But it didn't land the same way for me anymore. And it was
well,
like, because
because you're
I've now
whole.
given that to myself. Yeah.
Yeah, you're whole.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's nice to blame others for betraying us until we have the courage to finally say, okay, where did I betray myself?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That
how?
that was one of the most uncomfortable realizations I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Is to realize I was the common denominator in everything negative I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah. And to not judge yourself for that and to integrate it into self forgiveness and
Mhm.
wholeness so that, yes, appreciation's lovely. I don't need it. Um, but we could still receive it.
Oh
Yeah. There's
yeah, totally.
something even about like being whole long enough to not be triggered, but not be attached to,
Mhm.
to the outcome. It allows being present to be so much easier. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm certainly not there 24/7, but yeah, these moments are coming easier when there's no resistance and there's no attachment. And we're all the little Allanas are coming home on the inside. Yeah, yeah. And all the little Grants are coming home on the inside and you're paying it forward to wonderful people. So on IG, is it your name? Grant
Yes,
Dziak?
it's just Grant Dziak.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's in the show notes. Same with his website, which is his name as well. I remember something about a gift that if they DM you on IG that you
Mhm.
could send them. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, yeah. If you
Yeah.
just send me a DM and just
Yeah.
you just say listen to the podcast and I want the 90-second reset. It's just a little ebook and it's just
Yeah.
a three-step system, a 90-second reset for yourself, for your nervous system, where if you catch yourself, maybe it's before you're going into work, maybe you're feeling high stress, maybe I don't know, maybe you're finding yourself in a difficult situation with your significant, whatever it is, children, whatever. And it's this little 90-second thing to reset yourself. And the
Mm,
coolest thing to realize about your emotions filter or happen on 90-second intervals. So you can do this for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, man. You can completely change the game. And it's like when people are like, "Oh, what's that going to do?" It's like, when's the last time you did that for 90 seconds? When's the last time you regulated, you calmed yourself down and didn't go down all these different rabbit holes? And
mm.
people go, oh, 90 seconds. They're like, man, I've stayed angry way longer than 90 seconds. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because as soon as you get that stimulus, you find a million more. You start finding all of it in your world to confirm what you're feeling.
Mm,
And so this is the ability to interrupt that and keep it
mm.
from going to the places you don't want it to.
So good. So good. So, what I'd like for you, viewers and listeners, is whatever was awakened in you, moved within you, touched within you, could be triggered within you, could be inspired within you, just whatever was moved in you. When you're done this listening or viewing this, just take a moment, maybe hand on the heart, maybe hand on the belly, feet on the ground, and just listen. listen to what that inspired you to take action, hopefully to go to Grant's IG page and get that reset for sure. But if there's any other action that you're, inspired to take, even if it's taking pen to paper and getting something out and writing it down, going to a top of a mountain, screaming your head off, getting into the fetal position, grabbing your little blankie, whatever it is, just honor what your body's asking you to do. Listen to your body as if it's your best friend. And I really thank you, Grant, for being with us today. How would you like to complete this delicious conversation?
Well, I just want to extend some gratitude towards you. Like, thank you so much for inviting me onto this.
Oh,
And I don't ever take this lightly. I pretty much will never, ever, ever turn down any kind of interview, because I think that is like the coolest, most humbling compliment, because it's just your community. It's what you build. It's your baby. So I feel like there's so much honor and also responsibility on my behalf. And I love that. Like, that's so much fun. It's so cool to me. So I want to say thank you to you, and so much respect and for what you're building and what you're doing in the world.
Oh, thank you so much, Grant. Thank you for seeing me and for honoring my beautiful community. Yes, I think my YouTube channel's been up for 18 years, and I've got clients with me for over 15 years, and it is a family. That's what I call them, the frequency family, where together we literally rise together, because it's all energy. Yeah. Thank you for
That's amazing. And for anyone listening, like, to have clients for 15 years, that's incredible. Like, that really says something.
Thank you. And it's what we talked about right at the beginning. This whole theme is about creating a safe place for people to be real and be seen and do this deep work and have better and better lives. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So much. What an
Yes.
honor.
Thanks for being with us on Intimate Conversations. Until next week. See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. Speaking of regulation, cuddling with Muffin completely regulates my body. Back when I used to live in Wyoming, going to be out with the 9 horses, just standing with them, just letting them come over and say hi. I'm now stepping into the tub. It would regulate me. And that's why I showed you, like, there's the tub. Like, I love my bathroom. This beautiful house that I'm renting completely regulates me when I have a beautiful bath at night. And then I'm looking out, this particular property's on 9 acres, and my girlfriend, who's a dowser, let me know there's a positive vortex out by the stables. I don't have a horse, I have a cat. But if I walk out there, I've still got to find it. But there's incredible energy. So again, that walking in nature, and especially with a positive vortex, really, it regulates my system. When we talked a lot with Grant on the podcast about the importance of and ways to regulate, and how that can literally change the trajectory of your life. When you normally would react and you respond, that's literally a life changer, a game changer. Please be sure to go on his Instagram, DM him. He has a special gift for you. That'll all be in the show notes. And this conversation, if you feel like, oh my God, somebody needs to listen to this, please forward it to one of your friends. Please subscribe, rate, and review, so that the algorithms can take this up, so more people can see this conversation. Because I think the main thing is we have awareness, we have a choice, we have new behaviors, we have new ways we can feel, think, respond, all these things. This is in our control. We can have a bath, hang out with the cat, go in the back 12 acres. We can do these wonderful breath work and grounding exercises that Grant teaches us. You have so many tools at your disposal, and you are a sovereign being in charge of how you be in this life. And so allow Grant to support you with that, with his many different programs that he offers. And if there's anything I can be of service in going all the way to the core of those traumas and allowing you, your body, your nervous system to get all the way back to zero, so it's still inside, it's calm inside, not the calm we get when we leave our body and have the fakey fake face. No, the calm in the face of anything. We can be present, we can respond, we can lead with an open heart and be our best self. That is what I love to do with my clients. So in the show notes also is an intimacy breakthrough call scholarship if you would like to connect with me one-on-one. Thank you, Grant, so much for your wisdom, your heart. Thank you, all of you, for watching Intimate Conversations. We'll see you next week.